Welcome to this webinar on conflict escalation and what to do about it. My name is Mike Laboon. At Achieve, we believe everyone should be able to like where they work, but conflict, when it escalates, can cause people to dislike, sometimes intensely dislike their work. It can lead to low morale, quitting, firing, and stress-related illnesses. While conflict escalation can cause a myriad of problems, it is actually quite predictable. And if you know the way in which conflict typically escalates, you can identify what is going on and address it directly. What follows are the 7 stages of conflict escalation and how to deal with them. The 7 stages are accommodating, problem solving, personal antagonism, issue multiplication, triangulation, open hostility, and change in social structure. Stage 1, accommodating. Imagine you and I are co-workers and I do something you don't like. Let's say work starts at 8:30, but I come at 8:45. You have to manage a bigger load, you're stressed by my lateness, and the quality of your work slips. The first few times I do this, you don't say anything. After all, you want to cut me some slack and you feel it's our supervisor's job to address tardiness. You just accommodate my tendency to come late. But if I keep coming in at 8:45 and the supervisor doesn't seem to notice, you may feel you need to address it. If you try to figure it out one-on-one with me, that's going on to stage 2, problem solving. If you take a stage 2 approach, you don't discuss it like it's a moral failure on my part. Instead, you communicate about it. You respectfully point out my arrival time, ask about it. And if I seem to need the explanation, you tell me how difficult it is for you to do good work in the first 15 minutes of the day when I'm not there. You ask if I could come in at 8:30, or if that's not going to happen and it's permissible for me to be late, what I can do to help you keep your quality up until I do arrive. Maybe I promise to come in earlier, or maybe I offer to stay later at the end of the previous shift so I can do some extra prep for you. But ideally, you approach me in such a way that I want to problem solve with you. Many of us begin addressing our conflicts this way, but at some point, if the conflict is not resolved, we may switch to stage 3, personal antagonism. Here, you're beginning to believe that I am the problem. You conclude that I'm a late person, or that I'm lazy, or not committed to our work or my career. Some of us might skip stage 2 and go straight to stage 3. And some of us might take a while to get to stage 3, but we are all quite capable of taking a stage 3 personal antagonism approach. When you go to stage 3, seeing me as the problem, you set up a scientist in your brain. The scientist has a hypothesis that I am the problem. It's not a very good scientist though. It looks for data to prove the new hypothesis, but it does not look for data to disprove the hypothesis. Sure enough, you find the data. Turns out I have errors in some of the emails I send. I cut people off at staff meetings. One day you're walking past my desk and you hear me talking on the phone. I seem kind of rude. Then you realize I'm talking to one of my kids. Mike's not a very effective parent, you think. On another day, we're eating lunch together and I pull out my sandwich. It's salmon. You hate seafood. The smell is repulsive to you and you are disgusted. But given that it's me, you're not surprised. You spent the last while noticing all the irritating things I do, and this is just one more of them. You have now entered into stage 4, issue multiplication. Your scientist has searched for data to prove the hypothesis that I am the problem, and it has found it. Collecting all this negative data on me begins to eat away at you, and you develop resentment towards me. And this doesn't feel great. As Nelson Mandela once said, resentment is like drinking poison and hoping it will kill your enemies. As you inventory your issues with me, it weighs on you. You need to offload it onto someone. Thankfully for you, there are many other people at work. Let's say I'm a smoker and you're not. When I'm out on a smoke break, you go over to Raj's office. You say, "Have you noticed that Mike Laboon? He's not much of a team player, eh?" You've now moved to stage 5, triangulation. In triangulation, you talk about me, but not with me. If you've been thinking all along that you would be going to our supervisor, that's going to stage 5. For better or for worse, you're escalating the conflict because you're involving someone else. When you do this, let's say you go to Raj. He has a few options, but they boil down to three basic ones. A, he could flow in the same direction as your anger and basically agree with you. B, he could move in the opposite direction of your anger. He could defend me or refuse to talk to you. Or C, he could channel your anger and coach you. Many people do one of the first two options. If Raj chooses B and moves in the opposite direction of your anger, you might become calmer, but you might also become angrier. In fact, you might avoid sharing with Raj in the future. People know this and often choose option A to flow with the anger. If Raj does, it creates an alliance between you and Raj. There's nothing that creates a friendship like having a common enemy. But when Raj agrees with you, he affirms your scientist's hypothesis that I am the problem. You feel justified in treating me more poorly than others because even Raj agrees that I'm the problem. Perhaps you sense that if you were ever called out on your negative behavior towards me, Raj might back you up. And now you feel like you don't have to hide your dislike of me. Our hallway conversations are quick and tense. When I make a proposal at a meeting, you aggressively point out flaws. You privately ask our supervisor not to be put on a team with me. Even Raj doesn't treat me well. We have reached stage 6, open hostility. I'm not completely stupid, so I notice how you're treating me. When I'm out on a smoke break with Anastasia, I say, have you ever noticed how stuck up Raj and his cronies are? If Anastasia doesn't agree with me, I give her example after example of how you and Raj have treated me. I give them to everyone who's on smoke break. I'm forming my own alliances to protect myself. Soon we smokers have a lot of negative information about you and your friends. And you and your friends are sharing negative information about us. This creates such strong cliques that we might feel like we're betraying our people when we communicate across group lines. So now we're at stage 7, a change in social structure. Certain people don't work well with others anymore. At this stage, things are tense, communication is slowing down, behavior is worse, and people quit or get fired. I have taught this model of conflict escalation across this country to public, private, not-for-profit organizations, to white and blue-collar workers, and across multiple industries. And all have said that they'd either seen or experienced these stages of conflict escalation. It seems this is universal. When I ask what stages can be healthy, people tell me stage 1, accommodating, can be. Stage 2, problem solving, absolutely can be. And stage 5, triangulation, can be if it leads to coaching. All other stages are unhealthy. So we are going to expand on each of these stages. In order to have healthy conflict, we need to increase the activity during stage 1 and 2 and get to a place where, when stage 5 happens, it leads to constructive coaching. Many of us are harboring resentment and personal offense when we would be healthier, happier, and more productive if we just let go. The largest church in my home city has an estimated attendance of 8,000 people. That almost qualifies it for city status. In these days of increased suspicion towards the church, it's not easy to get people to voluntarily attend a religious service every week, much less give their time and money to run services of the scale that they do. To keep these people working together, every Sunday their pastors stand up and request them to find ways to accommodate each other. They say, be unoffendable, determined to forgive an offense and drop it immediately. When you feel anger towards someone, ask yourself how much of the problem would go away if you could let go. You may realize that the biggest problem is your ego. Notice when you need to pause on the tasks you're working on. Come to others respectfully and early on, and discuss issues. Do this when the issues are solvable and when not solving them will affect your work. If you do this well, you will inspire others to do it and be modeling how to do it. There is something impressive, inspiring, and undeniably memorable when someone thoughtfully, caringly, and privately approaches us, separating the person from the problem, addressing the problem firmly, but being good to us. And you can do this no matter where you are on the organizational ladder. If you do this more, others will do it more, and you will establish an open environment. When someone complains to you about someone else, it is an invitation for you to respond. And it's true that one way to do that is to choose option B, to refuse to engage when people talk negatively about others. But if you have time, it's more powerful to choose option C, turning triangulating into coaching. To do so, ask questions like, what was going on for them? How were they feeling? What if the other person meant something else? What if they misunderstood you? How could you ask them about their thoughts? What power do you have to change what is happening? What might you be able to do to make things come out more positively? What do you want to do next? If you increase your stage 1 and 2, and when somebody complains to you about someone else, use stage 5 for coaching, you will turn the potentially quite harmful effects of conflict into something constructive. You'll let unimportant issues slide, address important ones with respect, separating the person from the problem, and encourage others to do the same.